Hello, my name is Vitaly Gieman from Quantum Leaders, and today I want to present to you a recruitment roadmap process that we have developed particularly to address the challenge of finding those top employees that a lot of CEOs and leaders are having a problem today. My aim is two things. One is to hopefully show you how the uniqueness of this process, how it's different. And then secondly, to get your feedback in terms of what you think. If you actually adopted this approach, how would that work for you? Okay, so I'll share my screen. Okay, again, Quantum Leaders, the living organization. The living organization is our approach, which is very unique and different, and I'll describe to you in a moment. And this is a roadmap that we use in general for all strategy execution, but we customize it for recruitment. The living organization is about looking at organization from fundamentally different point of view. It's a shift from looking at organization as a mechanical process, basically where people are just a cog in a wheel, just resource, and they come in, they do their job, and they come out, and if we need to change them, we just simply replace them with more resources, right? That's a mechanical view, and that's fundamentally why a lot of organizations having problems recruiting. Now, I know that you probably don't, right? I haven't spoken to everyone, but there is still mechanical approaches within the process that are found prevalent, even because it's really difficult to see yourself in this process. So let me explain you what is a living organization. A person is a person, right? And it has a character, personality, right? It has uniqueness, right? So when a number of people group together, they form a department or a unit, right? And that unit, that department also has its own unique personality. Where it's a marketing department, it's one personality, very distinct from an operation or engineering department, right? And of course, the organization is a set of departments that have its own personality. You can think of it like one of those commercials where Mac versus Microsoft, right? Remember, the Mac guy is very relaxed, casual, creative, wearing a t-shirt. The Microsoft guy is wearing a suit and very formal, very different personality. Why is this important? When we're attracting employees, we are attracting them to our community, to our personality, right? To this organization that has very unique persona. Sometimes we're not even aware of what our personality is, right? That's very difficult to see from an outside, who you are. And we definitely are not, sometimes don't clearly communicate what is our values. Even though we have our values in the world, that does not translate into how people are seeing us, right? So what I want to show you is how we approach this from a strategic point of view. We have developed a recruitment roadmap canvas, right? The Living Organization Recruitment Roadmap canvas. At the very center of this canvas is our strategic compass. This is our purpose, mission, values, and vision. Most organizations already will have that, right? Or they will have something about that. And every time I look at that, it's usually mechanized by basically a set of values. We stand for integrity and honesty, etc. And we're here to be the number one in our industry, and our purpose is to serve our client. Well, then everybody does that. That does not really differentiate us, okay? Not in today's market. And so what we first do is a strategic compass audit. Is your strategic compass truly unique and different, so that a potential employee will actually look at you and go, oh, wow, that's very unique. That is something I've never seen before. That is something I can belong to, right? Well, they're looking not just for a job and a salary, they're now looking for a community to belong to. It's a dating process. Literally, it's a dating process. Think of it from that. And you either attract that date by being who you are, actually being who you are. Not just saying what you are, but the way you act. Let me give you an example of this, okay? I recently was headhunted by an agency. And the agent and the recruitment agent said that this company is highly purpose-driven, they have a great mission, they're fantastic about values and vision. And then he sent me into the process of selection, and the first thing I hit is this IQ test, which tells me, it's an online, impersonal, tells me, and it puts me through this 50-minute, how to count sheep and look at triangles. and I was regressed back 50 years when I was an engineer, where everybody was recruiting through these IQ and EQ tests. And I said, are you kidding me? You tell me that your organization is human-centered, and you're putting me through this, like I feel like a sheep going through and I just quit. I quit in the first 5 minutes, right? And so we don't see how sometimes what we say and what we actually do is a big gap. So having a strategic compass ordered in terms of, are you living this actually in your processes, would be very important. That's what we do. We find the gaps and we go, well, listen, you say you're people driven and you're about value driven, but look how your recruitment process goes, for example. Then we identify, who do we serve? Who in this case, who are the potential community members, the future community members? And I'm specifically using the word. They're not employees. They are your future community members, right? Think of it that way. How would you treat them differently to an employee number 747, right? So that means they have to be aligned with your view of the world, not just your culture, but the story that you're creating for your company. Do you have a company story? How are you marketing, right? Do you have videos? Do you have explanation of how, are your employees your ambassadors and talk about why they love working for you? Do you have videos on that? So just as an example. So once we identify who this and what is the psychographic personality profile of this new community members you're looking for, we literally map it out. Then you know then you're getting much deeper, right? What kind of belonging are they looking for? What kind of vision, what kind of purpose are they being attracted to? What is the personality of this person, and what is the personality of your company, and do they match? It's a date. Remember, it's a dating process, right? And then what is non-negotiables for them? For example, the non-negotiables may be, there's no, I'm only going to work 50 hours, 50% at home, and maybe the most I work in office is 50%, right? I'm only going to work with a company that truly stands for ecologically sustainable products or so, right? So you have to understand their non-negotiable, and then you have your non-negotiables as well. I only want a person who's really committed to developing themselves and not just a flyby that just wants to, so it's a certain kind of personality type, So again, we'll identify your negotiable, their negotiables, and it has to be a match between the two, right? Here we have strategic, let's call it traction strategies. Again, we're approaching it as a business strategy, not a recruitment process, right? And just like in the strategic themes that you have, whether it's cost, quality, and so on, we have your unique strategies. Now, is it going to be based on innovation? Like, for example, we are cutting edge technology company and when people join us, they're going to learn about the best and the most sophisticated technology, and that's how we're going to attract come. Maybe it's a development. We really focus on developing people. We are a developmental university. We're not just a company. We literally pay attention to bringing people to a whole new standard of both personal development as a human and professional development, as a worker. Right. Now that's another strategy, and maybe a geographic strategy that we allow you to work from anywhere in the world, etc., etc., etc. Right. Then how we do that. This is a whole bunch of really tactical understanding of what are the tactics that we use that. Okay. Do we go through colleges and start to recruit there? Do we do an online webinars? Do we run a whole marketing campaign through social media, etc., etc.? So that's the how. Okay. And being very creative about that. And it has to fit our community members here, our potential candidates, where they hang out, how they want to be approached, okay? Not just an agency or headhunter, okay? So once we worked out that, then we look at what are the skills we need internally to actually pull this off, okay? And not just skills in recruitment, how the interview techniques, that's the basic stuff, but the maturity level of the people who are doing this. If you have a young girl, a 25 girl who you trained in interviewing with, even though you give her the values and so on, that's not going to cut it anymore, right? Because they'll sense it. It's still a young girl who you've trained. And if you have now one of your operational leaders who've been trained and have a relationship skills and interviewing skills and has the vision and represents the company as the leader, that's a very different process, right? The maturity there from them. So we really pay attention of how we develop the maturity level and the skills, right, of the people who are doing, who's going to be actually executing this process. Otherwise, it's simply not going to happen. You're going to fall, and this is where a lot of the problems are finding. This is done really well, and then the execution is done really poor. Finally, we have very clear measurable outcomes, how many people you want to attract per month, per year, over the years. So everything is measurable in metrics, okay? So this is how the process works. It is a circular process. When we have this clear, when the purpose is clear and when the strategic compass is clear, you know who you serve and how you do it, and you have the right maturity and the skills, the outcomes will come. I want to very briefly show you the candidate journey. We have customers' journeys. This is now going to be a candidate journey. Now, this is a very standard process. Any recruitment agency will tell you: awareness, consideration, interest, application, selection. This is all standard mechanical stuff. We need it, but it's not going to cut it anymore. We need to understand the relationship journey at each stage of the way here, right? Even when we're building awareness, we already need to think of who are the potential candidates, how are they thinking, what kind of level of belonging are they looking for, right? What are they looking for to join? What kind of a community are they looking to join, right? So then we think from inside out, from their brains, right? From their mindsets. And so we are building a relationship. We're dating each step of the way. We're checking him out here, or they're checking us here. Then we're checking him out. Both of us are checking, and then we're going to have some kind of a process of interest, right? And it may be a webinar. It might be a very unconventional, maybe a very informal process of checking each other out, right? And this is where our non-negotiable, if we could have a really brief conversation with 30, 40 people at the time and see where they lie in that, and those who will be interested in our way of working, our culture, quote mark, our story, that will come and then maybe apply, and then I'll go through an interview process, etc. But it's a really delicate dating process. We set objectives for every part of this process, so that we're very clear. What is our objectives for each strategy? What is our objective for people training? What is our objective for really understanding who we serve, right? What are our key objectives here for measurable outcomes? And so finally, we use the balanced scorecard. We really make it a strategic exercise where for each objective, we have measurement and target, right? For who we serve and how we serve and the people. We have our measurements and targets, and then we use initiatives. We actually have to do something, set a project, who's responsible, and put a budget to it, right? Very often recruitment processes are like heavily under budgeted. So this is strategic. We produce a timeline for recruitment roadmap. So we have over the 24 months or maybe by quarter, all the initiatives, okay? What is done at each stage. And then finally, I just want to summarize with you the value of this recruitment roadmap. We found it has a much higher success rate of recruitment, which is exactly what we're looking for. It has a higher quality of people that we attract and a better match. And most importantly, it's also the retainment is much better. No point attracting people or spending all these resources over like a year or 2 years, then they come in and it's like a revolving door. 3 months later, they're out because there wasn't really a good process, a good match, right? So that's a lot of wasted resources. It engages all parts of the organization. This is not just a human resource management or an agency. This is really engaging the whole organization to become focused on recruitment, operations, marketing, your leadership team, everyone. Okay, and finally, it builds capacity for long-term talent attraction. This is an evergreen campaign. This is what's going to help you scale the organization to 3x, 10x, whatever your objective is. Because without that, you simply can't scale the organization without attracting new community members. And so this is very much about growth, organizational growth capacity. Thank you very much. I really would enjoy your feedback.